Oh my gosh, Somalia just Somalia just rejected its own law. Reversed it. You can now marry a child and no more freedom of religion. Reason? Wild. Article 21, no marriage under 18. Rejected. They said Islam defines adulthood by maturity, not age. So if a girl hits puberty, marriage permissible, not at 18. Sheesh. So the primary reason to reject this, religion. That surprised me, I'm not gonna lie. Let's go to the next article. Article number 9, freedom of religion for children. Rejected. They said every Somali child is born Muslim. So choosing another faith, it's not freedom, it's betrayal. Yeah. Somalia, in all seriousness, I don't know if this looks good. All right? The whole world was seeing you move forward, and then you stepped back and said, no freedom of religion and no age marriage limit. Reason? Religion. Yeah, I haven't comprehended this just yet. What's your thought on this?
So Somalia continues to reaffirm child marriage and reject freedom of religion because of Islam. And I'm going to show you that they have rejected children's rights. And their reasoning was because of Islam and Islamic law. So here is the article from an NGO, and I'm going to read some of it for you. So essentially what happened is that this month, Somalia ratified the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. And this is basically an international treaty specific to the African region on children's rights. Now, it seems as though Somalia has rejected the key provisions of the charter, right? The first key provision being Article 9, freedom of religion, stating that Somali children are Muslim and the Constitution will not recognize the right to change religion, highlighting the supremacy of Islamic identity within the country's legal framework. So they've basically said, hey, look, we know that children have rights and stuff, but we are rejecting freedom of religion because of Islam, and Islam has supremacy in this country. The second key provision is the provision Article 21A, which states that the minimum age of marriage is 18 years old. They've rejected this too, which says Somalia's position diverges from the charter stipulation setting the minimum marriage age at 18, instead applying Islamic legal criteria based on religious maturity rather than chronological age. Adoption under Western legal concepts is not recognized. Rather, Somalia endorses Islamic fiduciary care as an alternative. Lastly, while the charter defines adulthood at 18, Somalia employs Islamic definitions of maturity and adulthood, underscoring the prioritization of religious legal traditions. So they've said child marriage is fine because under Islam, we look at maturity. So that means that if we want to marry children here, if we want to marry little girls off to old men, which is what happens, then we're going to do that because Islam. Okay? Because in Islam, it's about maturity. So if a child is deemed mature, then they can also get married. You guys, this is the beauty of Islam. The beauty of Islam that they keep telling us about. Wake up, people. This is completely egregious. Children's rights are not respected in Islam. Neither are women's rights, to be quite honest with you. It's honestly just egregious.
I don't know if you know what's happening in Somalia, and so let me put you up to speed. Somalia earlier in the week banned child marriage, and they also gave they gave people freedom of worship. If you want to be Muslim, if you want to be Christian, if you want to be Hindu, if you want to be an atheist, you're allowed. And so the world was happy, it was celebrated. I mean, marrying a child or marrying someone who's not yet 18 is just giving pedophilia vibes. And then it also inhibits, or it doesn't give these children or these girls a chance to go to school and become whoever they want to be. And so most of the time from marriage, their futures are just maybe derailed or stopped. And so while the whole world was celebrating this, the Somalis were crying. I mean, I saw an old man, maybe in his 70s, crying and saying that there's no way they are going to let men marry girls as old as over 18, because these are too mature and too old for their men. And so, like, he really literally cried tears. And then that went on until I don't know if it's yesterday or today or Friday. So the Somali government decided that watu wamelia sana. You know, the way we went out to cry or to demonstrate against the finance bill, and then it was reversed. That is what has happened. They've reversed the law. They've rejected their own law and said sasa under 18s no wanabamba. Like, now they're going to do the same thing that they said that they were not going to do, because they realized that it was harmful to the girls. It was harmful to the health of the health of the girls, and it was also not fair, because these girls were not going to learn or whatever and go to school and determine their destinies or careers. But saizi sasa wamesema they realized that they realized their mistake, and so that is gone. And then they've also said that as long as you're born in Somalia, you are automatically a Muslim. Iyo maneno ya freedom of worship hawaelewi. There's nothing as freedom of worship, and anyone who goes against this commits treason. Tell me why. I mean, it's pedophilia. It's what's happening really? What's wrong with girls over 18? Someone tell me, because I really don't understand. So you let someone even mature kidogo? Oh my God, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I don't know.
I knew I made the mistake of praising the Somali government way too early, because guess what? They already reversed the decision not to marry off children. Let me be actually specific, not to marry off girls, because I have never seen a case where a Somali boy under the age of 18 has been forced to marry off to a grown-ass woman. It's never happened, because they actually let boys grow up and actually get an education. But for God forbid a girl gets her period, she's automatically old enough to be carrying a child around when she's 9 years old. And if you bring the Prophet's name up, you're getting Dambi for that. I hope you guys know that every time somebody brings up the Prophet's name and slanders him by saying that he married a child, you are slandering the Prophet, and you are getting so much sin for that. It has already been proven that Aisha was way over the age of 16 when she married the Prophet and didn't consummate the marriage until she was way over 19. The only hadith that says she was under that age is the one that has never been verified, but guess what? Perverted men have stuck to that one because it fits their narrative to continue to marry children and abuse children. Y'all are getting so much dambi for that, because when you see pictures like this where the little girl literally cannot physically be around that man, the imam that participated, the parents that participated, the man that did it, all are getting dambi. You are all going to the deepest parts of hell for that. Somalia will never be a prosperous country because they continue to abuse women and children and worship Khabil. That is literally why that country will never be prosperous. There's not a law that prevents men from abandoning those children when they marry them and force them to have children. There's not a law dictating that they continue to take care of the children that they force to have. There's no law forcing a man to actually fulfill his Islamic obligation onto his wife. But guess what? They all decided they wanted to marry children, so now the law has been reversed. The one time I thought our government was actually going to do the right thing, it got reversed because there are perverted men in the Somali government too. And men do not make decisions that protect women and children because they don't care about women and children. They only care about themselves. And in the Somalia's case, they only care about themselves with their Khabil because they worship Khabil more than they worship Ilahi. I've never seen a Somali man die over Islam, but guess how many times I've heard of a Somali man dying over his Khabil? That's all I gotta say. And to anybody that's about to come in my comments saying, why am I spreading our ab everywhere? You guys understand it's ab. You guys know it's ab. You know it's disgusting. And you want me to keep it quiet instead of actually speaking out about this. This decision will eventually happen. One day we will move forward as a people and actually stop child marriages. And that day will come soon. But it will happen after we continue to embarrass Somalia in the news, in the media, in the Western countries. Because until they are shamed into making progress, they won't do it.
If you're a woman, let me give you something to think about. They enforced a law in Somalia that there is no longer child marriage and the age of marriage should be from 18. Men took on the streets and protested. And guess what? That law was reversed. And now men can go ahead and marry children. That law was reversed within 24 hours. Men protested and within 24 hours, now they are allowed to marry children. When you think you have seen it all, you just wake up one morning and you see something and you're like, God have mercy. God have mercy.